Senator Stevens, your ability to close on Senate Bill 1503 as amended by Amendment 5535. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Second Amendment is not something that we were granted by our Constitution. As the court says in Bruin, it's a pre-existing right. The court says, quote, "We reiterate that the standard for applying the Second Amendment is as follows. When the Second Amendment's plain text covers an individual's conduct, the Constitution presumptively protects that conduct. The government must then justify its regulation by demonstrating that it's consistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. Only then may a court conclude that the individual's conduct falls outside the Second Amendment's, quote, unqualified command, end quote." And while the court goes on and talks about which types of arms, and it says the Second Amendment's reference to arms does not apply, quote, only to those arms in existence at the 18th century. The court goes and it talks about the different kinds of arms. It doesn't answer the question that the original, that the amendment I proposed. The case does not clearly answer the question whether a long gun is an arm that is used for self-defense purposes. It doesn't clearly say that. I have my opinion on what that case says. We may or may not violate people's rights by this bill as amended. There are certainly, the 11th Circuit recently out of Florida says that in interpreting our actions as government restraining people's rights to bear arms, the 11th Circuit just recently held that we can't just look at the law at the nation's founding in 1791, but as state governments, when we are passing laws, we have to also consider laws that were in place when the 14th Amendment was adopted, because this applies to the states through the 14th Amendment. And so while this piece of legislation does not do what I would like it to do, even minimally, I've had multiple drafts drafted. I would love to see this piece of legislation do a little bit more. Even if I can't do long guns, I think what I would like it to do is to adjust 1307A, which to simply say that it is not an offense to carry a handgun with the intent to go armed. Unfortunately, because of the convoluted nature of our handgun and firearm regulations in the code, it's nearly impossible to draft that without taking or possibly violating someone's constitutional rights. And so I urge all interested groups to work with me in the future to try to fix this, and so that at the minimal, we reverse the presumption that the right to bear arms is something granted to us by government. It's not. It's something we're born with as Americans. And it's to be preserved. It's for self-defense. That's not a right we're given. It's a right we have. We're given it by God alone. We have to protect life, and that's consistent. It's our number one duty as legislators. And so, while that, like I said, this is not what I prefer, but it puts in law, it protects individuals at 18 years old, it validates what the court has said, it puts it in law, and it clarifies some statutes that currently are unclear. And so I urge you to support the bill.
Thank you, Senator Stevens. We will be voting on Senate Bill 1503 as amended by Amendment 5535. Madam Secretary, take the roll, and I will vote first.
Chairman Gardenhire?
Aye.
Votes aye. Senator Lamar?
No.
Votes no, Senator Kyle. Votes no, Senator Lundberg.
Aye.
Votes aye, Senator Roberts. Votes aye, Senator Rose. Votes aye, Senator Stevens.
Aye.
Votes aye, Senator Taylor. Votes aye, Senator White. Chairman, you have 7 ayes and 2 noes.
Thank you. Senator Stevens, your bill goes to finance.